Hello, my name is Milvad, and today we are going to continue the uh, Laravel permission part 1. The last video we talk about the assign role, and you see how you can assign role or roles. You can pass multiple roles in the assign role method. And now we are talking about the how to give a permission to a user, and how can check user, for example, can access, for example, to this page, and how to manage it. So for permission, you can use multiple way to manage the permission. One way that you can manage, for example, you can make a let's move timeline in the top, and here make a new model, for example, permission. So here you can add your permissions here, for example, with the const, public const, and for example you can say permission, for example, super admin, and you can, for example, write super admin. Sorry, it's not need to write $sign. And also, if you have many permission, you can write your permissions here. For example, I have a section about the user, for example, manage user, or you can write user permission. And also, for example, we have one section about the category, and we can write or category permission. So and also you can make a static property is permissions. It's array. So, and add your permissions here, self, and so, and let's go to seeders, and here, for example, you can write permission and permissions, and add a for each permissions as a permission, and write your permission, the main permission model from the Spatie, and for example, first, or we can say first, or create, and the attributes is name with the permission, and the name is permissions, permission, no permissions. So it's attributes, and it's a value. And let's test. So here we don't have any permission. When run php artisan db seed, and let's see. I think it's about the first or create. So here is permission, not permissions, and you can see successfully seed run. And let's refresh again. You can see your permission added successfully, and this way is very helpful. If you want to see a real example, you can go to my GitHub page, Milvad Dev, and Shopline. I add this link into the description if you want to see how role permission work in the real project. I have a role permission module, is a modular architecture, and you can see how can manage the permission. So here when you add a new permission and run dbc, it's automatically added into the db. And let's comment here and let's run and see the welcome page. So here, if you I want to check, for example, if Laravel if user has user permission, this box is show for user. If he can't sorry, if he didn't have user permission, this box didn't display. So the Laravel news. So here you can check with the some directive. For example, you can add a if and check the user with the as helper, and you can use a can and add your permission here. For example, user, and so I think is error about the about the authentication. You can add it to into a so you can see the Laravel news box removed because user didn't have any permission for user. So let's we have a milbot here. Let's log in with the milbot user. Refresh again, and you can see Laravel news box didn't display again. Why? Because the milbot user didn't have any permission to for Laravel news box. So if you want to get give a permission to user, you can use a give permission to, and your write your permission. For example, I want to add a permission, it's a user. So you can see Laravel news displayed now, and because of the user have a role with the permission user. So but we can check user has a role has a permission with the can directive, and just need to write your permission or write your ability to want to check, and here, and also run again. You can see we don't have any error and very better than previous way. And so for remove the permissions, here you can see revoke the given permission. Let's refresh again. You can see the Laravel news box remove because I removed the user permission. So I remove user permission. So and give permission to. So here you can see how it's works. Now I want to show the one way for a super admin. If your company that's work on it, say I want to highlighting some users as a super admin and can access to all of the section in the or all page in the application. It's so hard to add, for example, if user has user permission, or for example, or super admin. It's so hard, and for all pages you can use a gate and before. In the provider, gate, and we have a one method, it's before, and here automatically send the user in a callback. So you can check if user has permission 2 and permission, for example, super admin. This is a when we want to check the user has a, for example, ability, before checking, gate before run, and you can add your condition here. For example, I add if user has super admin permission, he can access to all page and for example section. So here I say there I say for permission, user permission, and I want to remove the user permission. So now I want to add a new permission, is about the super permission. Here I say user permission, but is a super admin. Let's refresh again. Here you can see lot of news show again because I use gate before. It's very important to use for super admin ability. So I want to say one tip that is very helpful for you. For example, you want to check user has a, for example, one role. For checking for example, you want to check something in your application, for example, in the welcome page. Always use a permission to check, for example, user has a permission, because when you are checking the role contains the permissions. For example, let's open the paint and show the real example. For example, we have a one role. For example, role is milwatt. It's okay. So and the role, and I think this can be bigger. So no. So it's a role. This role it contains of the permissions. For example, this role is the user permission. Sorry, is bad. Also the category, also articles, for example. When you are checking by permission, for example, user must you must have article permission. When you are checking this, when user have a milwatt rules, it contains of these permissions, and automatically Laravel permission package check this user has this permission is automatically checking, and there is no need to check the user have this role, because this role maybe have a lot of permission, and in the panel or dashboard didn't have this role, but user have a article permission. It's very important to understand this tip. And that is I say lots of. And if you want to improve your knowledge about the Laravel permission, you can go to the official documentation. And let's show the last tip. Get user by a specific role or permission. So if you want to get the, for example, super admin user, you can use a permission method, or let's use a query, and let's use the Laravel idea. So you can here write your permission, and for example super admin, and use a get, and I use item for users variable. So you can see the we have a one item, and the result is Milvad because he is have a super admin role permission. And let's remove this. We have a two items or result. So also we have a role here, and for example which role we have in this system. So the product management, products, let's copy so let's test again, refresh, and you can see the result is 1. And you can use these methods to filter your query. And also you can use, for example, doesn't have a roles. Roles and permission is the relations, and you think you have a relations in your model, and to behave like a relation that you write in your for example user model. And for example use where, for example where has, and relation and something like something, and that is I say the correct and the main Laravel permission. And you can go and get more information about the, for example, bullet directives for Spatie-Laravel permission. For example, you can use can and like this, or for example you can write the role directive or has role is in the Laravel permission package, is not in the Laravel core. And if you have any question, write your comments under my video. And until next video, good